The number one habit secretly damaging men over 60. There's a strange paradox to getting older. You spend decades getting to know your body, figuring out what makes it tick. You learn the real value of a good walk, the right foods, a solid night's sleep. You build these habits you think are protecting you, building a fortress for the years ahead. You honestly believe you've got the owner's manual down pat. But what if one of those habits, a private one, something you've done your whole life, something you never, ever thought to question was secretly working against you? What if the very thing you just considered normal was the root cause of a silent decline, stealing your energy and vitality right from under your nose? I really thought I had it all figured out. At 68, I was the guy my friends came to for health advice. I could outwork men half my age in the garden. I walked my 2 miles every single morning without fail, and my doctor always gave me a clean bill of health. But a few months back, this profound, unshakable exhaustion set in. It was a fatigue so deep, it felt like it was in my bones. Along with it came a weird, persistent ache in my core and a new, frustrating urgency whenever I had to urinate. I thought I was doing everything right. So why did my body feel like it was staging a coup? The answer, I'd soon find out, was hiding in the one place I never thought to look. Section 1, the normal, before the problem I name is Arthur. And for most of my life, I took my health for granted, but in a good way. I was just blessed with a strong constitution. While my buddies started complaining about bad backs and tricked knees in their 50s, I felt solid. My wife, Eleanor, and I raised 3 kids, built a business from the ground up, and settled into a retirement that was supposed to be our golden reward. Our days were simple but full. We'd have coffee on the porch, I'd get my walk in, and then I'd spend hours in my workshop or tending to the sprawling garden that was my pride and joy. I had energy to burn. I could lift heavy bags of soil, spend an afternoon on my hands and knees pulling weeds, and still have the get up and go to take Eleanor dancing on a Saturday night. My annual physicals were boring. And that's exactly how I liked them. Blood pressure, great. Cholesterol, in check. My PSA was always stable. My doctor would clap me on the shoulder and say, "Whatever you're doing, Arthur, keep doing it. You're a model for men your age." I took that too. Heart. I believed I had the formula for healthy aging all figured out. I was disciplined. I was consistent. And I thought, totally in tune with my body. That's why the change, when it came, was so damn terrifying. It felt like a betrayal. Section 2. The onset of symptoms and the diagnostic gauntlet. It didn't happen overnight. It was more like a slow leak. At first, I just felt a little off. My morning walk started to feel more like a chore than a pleasure. I'd get back to the house feeling like I needed a nap, not like I was ready to take on the day. Then came the fatigue. This wasn't just normal tiredness from a day's work. This was a heavy, leaden exhaustion that clung to me from the moment I woke up. It felt like my internal battery was only charging to 30%. Soon after, the physical stuff started. It was a dull, persistent ache deep in my pelvis, a feeling of pressure that I just couldn't shake. At night, I was up 2, 3, sometimes 4 times with an urgent need to pee, a problem I'd never had before. It completely wrecked my sleep, which only made the fatigue worse. I became irritable, withdrawn. Eleanor noticed right away. "Artie, "You're not yourself," she'd say, her voice laced with concern. "You just seem so drained." She was right. I felt like a shadow of myself. The joy I found in my workshop vanished. My garden started to look neglected. I was too tired, and the constant low-grade discomfort made it hard to focus on anything else. Of course, I went to the doctor, then another, and then a specialist, a urologist. It was a frustrating gauntlet of tests and questions. They checked my heart, my thyroid, my testosterone levels. They ran every blood test you can imagine. Everything came back normal. "Your numbers look great for a man of 68, Arthur," the urologist said, almost cheerfully. "Some urinary frequency is normal with age. Maybe you're just overdoing it. Try to take it easy." Take it easy? I was already doing the bare minimum. I felt completely dismissed, unheard. It's maddening to be told you're perfectly healthy when you feel like your body is slowly shutting down. Was this just what being 68 meant? A managed decline into weakness and discomfort? I refused to accept that. There had to be an answer, and if the doctors couldn't find it, I was going to have to find it myself. Section 3. The turning point, and the discovery that search sent me down countless rabbit holes. Online, reading medical journals and forums where men were describing similar, unexplained symptoms. I started keeping a detailed journal, noting everything: what I ate, how I slept, my energy levels, the intensity of the ache. I was looking for a pattern, any pattern at all. The aha moment didn't come from a medical website. It came late one night as I was sitting in my armchair, feeling that familiar ache and exhaustion. I was thinking about my daily routines, the habits so ingrained they were almost invisible. And then it hit me. There was one habit, a lifelong private activity that I had never once considered in the context of my health: masturbation. Now, from a health science perspective, masturbation isn't harmful. In fact, research shows regular ejaculation can be good for you, especially for men over 50, as it might help flush out the prostate. So it wasn't that I was doing it. The problem was how I was doing it. I realized my habits had never adapted. As my body aged, the first mistake was frequency and timing. Out of habit, sometimes just boredom, I do it fairly often, and usually when I was already tired at the end of the day. But as you get older, the body's recovery systems slow down. Forcing my body into a state of exertion when it was already depleted was becoming a major drain on my resources, messing with hormone cycles that are crucial for preserving muscle and energy. The second mistake was technique. Like a lot of guys, I suppose, my technique was rushed and often involved more force than necessary. I learned that as you age, the skin thins and blood vessels become more delicate. Using a death grip or too much pressure can cause micro-injuries and inflammation in the tissues around the prostate and urethra. This can lead to long-term irritation, that dull ache, and even the urinary issues the doctors couldn't explain. The third mistake was posture. My go-to spot was usually sitting on the edge of the bed or even on the toilet, a common habit for men looking for privacy. But sitting like that, especially hunched over, restricts blood flow to the pelvic region. It puts direct pressure on the prostate and can tighten the pelvic floor, subtly damaging nerves and contributing to problems like post-urination, dribbling, and that feeling of never fully emptying your bladder. Finally, there was the mental side of it. I wasn't approaching it with any kind of mindfulness, but as a mechanical, almost thoughtless routine. That disconnect meant I wasn't getting the full hormonal benefits, like the mood-boosting oxytocin that creates a sense of well-being. Instead of feeling relaxed, I often just felt flat afterward. Putting it all together was like finding the missing pieces of a puzzle. It wasn't one big thing. It was a collection of small, seemingly harmless habits that had compounded over time, creating a perfect storm of fatigue and physical strain on my 68-year-old body. Section 4. The resolution and the new normal. That discovery was incredibly empowering. It wasn't just getting old. It was something I could actually change. And so, I started an experiment. I didn't stop the habit, but I completely changed my approach. First, I started listening to my body. I no longer did it when I was feeling tired or run down. Instead, I chose moments when I felt relaxed and energized. I cut back on the frequency quite a bit, focusing on quality over quantity. The goal was no longer just a quick release, but genuine relaxation. Second, I totally changed my technique. I focused on being gentle. I learned that pleasure wasn't about force, and I consciously avoided the aggressive friction that had become my default. I also started using lubrication, something many older guys overlook. As skin loses moisture with age, this simple change helps prevent irritation and just makes the whole experience more comfortable. Third, I paid attention to my posture. I made a rule: never again while sitting on the toilet. I made sure I was in a relaxed, comfortable position that didn't put pressure on my pelvic area. The results weren't immediate, but within a few weeks, I started to notice a real difference. The first thing to come back was my energy. The bone-deep fatigue began to lift slowly at first, and then it felt like all at once. I started waking up feeling rested, not depleted. After about a month, that persistent ache in my pelvis had completely vanished. My nighttime trips to the bathroom became much less frequent. I felt like I had my life back. My joy in the workshop returned. I was back out in my garden, feeling the sun on my back without that nagging discomfort. Eleanor saw the change almost right away. The spark was back in my eyes. "It's good to have you back, Artie," she said one evening, squeezing my hand. CTA. And conclusion. My journey taught me a profound lesson. Your body is always talking to you, but as you get older, you have to learn to listen differently. Habits that serve you for decades might need a tune-up. There's no shame in that. It's just part of aging with wisdom and self-awareness. For any man out there over 60 who feels that unexplained fatigue or discomfort, I really urge you to look beyond the obvious. Think about your private habits. Are you actually listening to your body? Or are you just running on autopilot? Are you being gentle with yourself? Or are you creating strain where there doesn't need to be? This isn't about stopping a natural part of life. It's about adapting. It's about treating your body with the respect and care it deserves after carrying you for more than 60 years. There's nothing shameful about touching yourself, but there is a smarter way to do it. I wanted to start this conversation because so many men struggle in silence, blaming age for problems that might have simple, practical solutions. If my story resonates with you, or if you've had a similar experience, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could be the aha moment for someone else. And if you found this useful, please think about sharing it with a friend or a brother. Let's help each other age with strength, vitality, and dignity.